All right, good afternoon. Welcome back to the interview room at Harriet Little Caesars Arena for the Midwest Regional. We're pleased to be continuing our press conference coverage today with the Purdue Boilermakers. Gentlemen, welcome to Detroit. Congrats on advancing to the Sweet 16. From your left to your right, we have Braden Smith, Foster Lawyer, and Zach Eady. For the media in the room, please be sure to silence your cell phones, raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. We have mic holders on either side of the room. Please speak clearly into the microphone as this press conference is being transcribed by ASAP Sports. We'll start with questions here in the interview room, and then if we have any on Zoom, we'll go that way. So we'll go ahead and open it up for the student athletes, starting with Myron in the back.
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Zach, how much different is this team from last year's group, and how have we seen that so far in this tournament?
Yeah, on paper, obviously it's very similar to last year's team, but it's like the things that how we run our offense, how we play defense, like everything about our team is completely different. Obviously, they became sophomores, so they their body gets more used to it. The game slows down for them. They understand more things, and then the addition of Lance and Cam has really given us like a pop.
Second row on the right.
Zach, Jamie Strachan from CBC in Toronto. Can you, first off, just talk a little bit about your basketball journey to getting to this point and, from Toronto many years ago, and what kind of contingent are you expecting here in Detroit playing so close to home?
I'm not sure what type of contingent there will be. My story's been pretty well documented, but obviously I got into sport late, picked up an offer from Purdue pretty early or pretty quickly, came here. It's been a great 4 years. Like every year, it's been really, really good the way it's progressed for me. It's helped me build up my confidence, build it up, understanding of the game and everything, and to now where the point I'm at now. It's been everything I could have asked for.
First row on the left.
Vedant Gupta from Global Kid Media. For all three of you, you came in as freshmen with a lot of talent, but Zach, obviously your footwork, your leadership, your passing, both Fletcher and Braden, your leadership skills. I'm going to talk about the adversity of last year and this journey and how helpful that's been to help this team's identity.
Let's start with Braden on that one.
Yeah, so we've seen almost every situation possible. We've been through it. It's happened to us. So I think just after everything that happened last year and applying to this year, we understand how to handle those situations. And obviously it helps me and Fletch maturing a little bit and figuring out how things go as time goes on. So I think that helps a lot as well. And we just got a lot of guys that enjoy to compete and just enjoy the game of basketball, so it makes it fun and easy for us.
Fletcher, you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's been difficult. It's been a long season. It's been a lot of time since last year, and we've gotten a lot better. We've gotten a lot better as people, players, and teammates. And I think that everything we've went through with the summer, a lot harder workouts, we were pushing each other a lot more, and going to Europe together, it was just a lot of different things that we did to stick together and be ready to go come March this season.
Yeah, what Braden and both of them said. We've been through a lot together as a team, as a unit. I think when you go through things as a group and as a unit, you understand how to deal with them. So there's no situation that we can really be put in that we haven't been put in before. There's no style of basketball a team can play that we haven't played against before. So I think we're really well prepared for everything.
First row on the left.
Brian Newberg, Golden Black. Zach, this.
It's definitely it's a good rule. It's been called for me a few times. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for the refs to judge because there's so much obviously so much tangling up that happens on rebounds. It's a good rule, obviously. And I think it's been used correctly. It's just a tough call for the refs to make, obviously.
Back row on the right. Go ahead.
Guys, whoever wants to answer this one, obviously Gonzaga is a team you faced earlier this year. I know that was a long time ago, the very start of the year. How much can you take from that game into this one?
Let's start with Foster on that.
It's Fletcher, by the way.
Oh, I apologize.
But no, it has been a long time ago, and we've learned a lot since then. We play differently. They play quite a bit differently. But watching the film, those two guards can go, and you see that, and you see how they attack pick and rolls. You see how they attack in open space. So really just kind of us seeing that, seeing what they've done recently as well, and continuing to try to play our game. We don't want to play into their hands as they like to get out and really go in transition. So just stopping their guards and limiting their bigs as they play three of them now.
My apologies, Fletcher Lawyer. Additional questions for the student athletes? Let's go to the back right.
Quick side note, I don't know if we can turn up the players a little bit. It's kind of hard to hear them back here. But for Braden and Fletcher, how much different is this team with Zach being able to play in space defensively better than he was able to do that a year ago?
Yeah, I mean, he's worked his butt off this summer. I mean, just seeing him in the gym, he really put a lot of time towards it, and we competed against each other this summer a lot. So, I mean, there was times where he was guarding me, and he did an unbelievable job. So, I mean, he really puts a lot of time and hard work into it, and it's obviously showed this year, and it helps us a lot because when they get those switches and he has to guard a guard in the late shot clock, like he's able to do so.
Way in the back there, standing up.
Hey guys, Sam Sprunger, Big Talk ASAP Network. I want you guys, any of you guys or all three of you, to talk about Lance and how much of a difference he's made to this year's team compared to, and not taking anything away from last year's team, just that difference that he's brought to this team this year.
Braden?
Yeah, no, I think not necessarily the on-court stuff, but off the court, just how he is as a person. He's super joyful, he's always smiling, and he always just brings energy to the team. So kind of just seeing that and having him on our team just kind of gives us a boost as well, and just makes us want to play harder and just enjoy kind of, you know, just the time of being together. So.
Front row.
Yeah, I mean, we're all here at the crunch time ending here, so we're just playing our best basketball. And I think just as we've progressed and kind of understood every situation that we've been through and we've played against, we're able to be ready to play for anything and understand everything. So, I mean, they're obviously a great team, and they've changed a lot as well. But so I think we'll be fine.
Second row on the right.
Zach, can you just talk a little bit about the importance of your family and how they've been a part of your journey getting here?
Yeah, my mom's obviously, she's kind of changed her whole life just to be there for me. She's lived in Toronto her whole life. As soon as I got to Purdue, she got an Airbnb and stayed out there with me. Every season she's done that, and it's been great for me kind of just have someone in the stands who I know and who I recognize. And like, this isn't even the country I'm from. Like, I'm not, like, obviously Purdue is like a family to me, but my real family is like, it's my mom and my dad and my brother, and just have my mom there for me. Like every day, like every game, good or bad, how I was playing as a freshman, how I'm playing now, like she's there supporting me the same way. And that's really big for me.
For Zach, do you have people coming down from Canada? It's obviously right across the river.
No, tickets were a little bit harder to find for this game, so I think they're happy with watching just from Toronto.
Additional questions for the student athletes? Anybody on Zoom? Seeing none. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Change to Fletcher for next time. No, you're good. Thank you.
1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1. What are you doing to my microphone, man? 1 2. Oh, here you go. Check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2 check 1 2.
Check 1 2 check.
right, welcome back, everyone. We are now pleased to be joined by Purdue head coach Matt Painter. Coach, welcome back to Detroit.
Thank you.
Congratulations on advancing to the Sweet 16.
Thank you.
Before we start today's Q&A with Coach Painter, for the media here in the interview room, please raise your hand for a microphone to be brought to you. These press conferences, as we stated earlier, are being transcribed by ASAP Sports. With that, we'll begin today's session with Purdue head coach Matt Painter. You want to start us out with an opening statement, please?
Sure. Obviously excited about being here, competing. We know we have a tough opponent in Gonzaga, who we played earlier in the year. They had great front line, great guards, just great players in general, Hall of Fame coach. I think the experience of playing them gives you a reference point like it gives them a reference point, but I think it means very little. I don't think either team played very well in the game. I don't think either team shot very well in the game. So they had a lot of open looks that they normally make in that game. So we're going to have to do a much better job defending them. We're going to have to do a much better job of taking care of the basketball. We were very fortunate to turn it over as much as we did and still pull out the victory. So hopefully we can shore up some of those things, just like they're looking at film, trying to shore up some of the shortcomings that they had in the game also. But they've had a fabulous year and have been very, very successful, obviously, for a long, long time.
Thanks, Coach. Let's start out on the left side in the fourth row.
Hey, Matt, Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated. I asked Mark this question as well. You two guys have been consistently successful in a very changing landscape of your sport. How have you managed to adapt without compromising what makes your programs what they are?
Right. I think for us, we struggled, lost a couple years in a row, like 9-10 years ago. We didn't need to do a better job in recruiting. We needed to do a better job in evaluating. And at that time, we made some adjustments and we had to do a better job of digging in and getting, obviously you can see talent, but what comes with talent? You want production. You want guys that are growing. But for us, we wanted people that wanted to get their education at Purdue, and we wanted that balance. And I think that's where we've had really good balance where guys want to be at Purdue. It's not just the recruiting and you get them. It's building a relationship, and you don't always have to be buddy-buddy with every single guy, but you have to be honest with them. And that's what we've tried to do, is just be as honest as we can and be a truth teller. And I think that's how we've really sustained a lot, is by getting the right people in the room, getting the right players, right combination of a person and a player.
First row on the left.
The game in November, how is it different now, but also how is Purdue different now?
Well, I think they're different, just obviously looking at who they start, inserting Greg into the lineup and Anton Watson's, kind of durability and his ability to guard different people, allows them to be bigger, but yet Greg has great size, but his skill level shooting the basketball really helps him. He's competitive. Stromer coming off the bench instead of starting, he still gives him that punch off the bench where he can shoot the basketball. He goes to the glass just like Greg does. But just quality players. He just kind of found the right mix. But they can play big and they can play smaller. And I think that flexibility for them has been really good. But more than anything, they got really good guard play. I think your guards have to play well. Your guards have to take care of the basketball. Nimhard and Hickman are two of the better guards in the country. I like their combination. I think they just have a little bit better combination. It seems to be more fluid for them. But the thing with Gonzaga is they can beat you in a lot of ways. Those guards can break you down. Those bigs can get on the glass. Graham Ike can score on the block. They bring in Braden Huff, and who stretches the defense also. So you got a lot of skill, you got a lot of size, but you also got playmaking guards. It's just a pretty good recipe for success.
Go back to the fourth row on the left.
Yeah, Coach, it's Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. We all know how mad this event is, and I think, basketball's been really good to you in life. It's been really mean to you sometimes, too. I wonder how you process the latter. What's your method for processing when it's mean?
Yeah, the game doesn't always love you back. But you got to understand that going in. You're going to play a game, one team's going to win and one team's going to lose. When you get used to winning a lot, the expectations that you raise and get it, for your program makes it even harder than that. You know, we've been beat up a lot, or I've been beat up a lot for the people that have beaten us. You know, we're the higher seed, we should win, this and that. And I always say that takes away from your opponent. That's not fair to them. Like, they've earned it. Like, we didn't get cheated out of anything. Somebody beat us. And so I think for us, the most important thing to do, and what we've always tried to do, is be honest with ourselves in evaluation no matter how your season ends, so you can hopefully make those corrections. But you can't correct your team, or you can't correct your players unless you correct yourself. And so that's what I've always tried to be, no matter what it comes from, because everybody has an answer, right? You know, you listen to everybody, you listen to nobody. You know, you have to be honest, and you have to understand things, and you can't be stubborn, you know, too. And so for us, I just kind of looked at it as our skill level had to be better, but we had to have improvement from people. I felt like we had some guys that could have shot a lot better for us the previous year, but it's their first year, or they just didn't shoot well. I believe that they were going to shoot better this year, and they did. We had to add some quickness, some athleticism. I think we've done that in Cam Heide and Miles Colvin. And then Lance Jones has really given us a punch, you know. And so now Braden Smith makes improvements. Mason Gillis is solid as a rock. Trey Kaufman-Wren gets some more minutes. He can score the basketball. So just the combination of those things, we felt like we had to make those type of improvements. But we also didn't want to run from anything. And so, like, and some of our losses aren't on our players. Last year's is on our players, right? But, like, we've had some other losses that way, and I think that builds up. You know, we've gotten into the second weekend a lot, but we've only advanced to the Elite Eight one time. And so, like, you know, we've raised those expectations, but like I said, just trying to be as honest as we can, and then get to work. You know, we can still outwork people, and we can still be better together than other people, no matter who they sign.
Let's flip it over to the right side in the second row.
Hey, Coach. Eddie Pels from AP. We're in this supposed era of, you know, positionless basketball, where
Right.
everyone can do everything, no matter how big or small they are. Obviously, you have a kind of an exceptional 7'4" kid. But
Right.
Is there anything about positionless basketball that can still fit in to what you do, or do you throw it all out?
Yeah, no. We take the best players that we have, and we circle around them, you know, no matter who they are. You know, we were in the Elite Eight 5 years ago, and we didn't have a real post-up option. Travion Williams was just a freshman, and he backed up. We had a 7'3" center that was a diver, and he wasn't really a low-post guy, even though he'd get a couple baskets here and there that way. So we just try to take our best players, and that's how we start in our recruiting. Like I always tell guys, they want to know where they are. And I always tell them, well, if you're one of our top 2 or 3 scorers, here's how I see you. And if you're not one of our top 2 or 3 scorers, then you're going to have to fit around offensively those top 2 or 3 scorers, right? And so you just started off right away in recruiting to where you can't tell 13 people, like, you know, here's going to be your role. It just doesn't work that way. But there's a lot of guys that do that because they want to sign good players. Then they just deal with it later. I'd rather get that trust right away, or I'd rather lose the player. You know, I don't want to get somebody on false pretenses, and then you can build from there. And then you can grow from there, and then you can just be honest with them about it. But I like the positionless deal. Like, it's not something like I'm away from. I just happen to have Zach Edey. I'm a fool if I don't anchor it around him, right? So we've learned a lot through the years, you know, with our size, you know, from Carl Landry to Jawan Johnson to Caleb Swanigan, A.J. Hammonds, Isaac Haas, Travion Williams, Matt Harms. We've learned a lot. You learn from your players, because how people deal with it and how people go. But he's kind of the exception to the rule. You know, he can really move, and he's so physical, and he's skilled. But what probably separates him is his unselfishness and his competitiveness. He's a very, very competitive player. He goes, you know, big guys will take some plays off. He doesn't take plays off. You know, he runs, and he does everything. He's a complete player. But the unselfishness, I think, really separates him, because if you double, he's a passer, and if you don't, he's a scorer.
We're going to take 2 more on the left, and then we'll come back to the right. Myron?
Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Matt, it feels like momentum is pushing us toward an expanded tournament. If that happens, how do you feel about it, and what should that look like if the tournament expands?
Yeah, I would rather it stay the way it is. But I also have been in a lot of those committees where I think it's important to shut up and listen to other people. So I'd love to sit in the room and listen to the why, you know, because I think that's part of collaborating with everybody, which head coaches really have kind of been left out of that equation when it comes to collaborating. about what's best for the game. I'd rather see the room change. I'd rather see that. If you look on committees, whether it's the executive committee, the D1 council, the Rice Commission, go on and on and on. There's no current head coaches sitting in those rooms. And it doesn't mean that we got to stir the drink or make the decision, but just listen to from our vantage point, no different than you listen to a student athlete from their vantage point, or a former player or an athletic director or media, whatever. Everyone has an opinion from where they sit. And I think if we can do some things of that nature, we'll improve our game, but we'll also improve our selection process.
Back row.
Hey, Coach. Sam Sprunger, Big Talk ASAP Network. I asked your guys about him, but I want to get the coach's perspective too. What does Lance Jones do for this team that maybe not taking away from last year's team, but brings differently to the success that this year feels maybe a little different?
Yeah, he's got a great competitive spirit. He comes to practice, comes to games. He's excited about playing. He chose Purdue, didn't talk about name, image, and likeness one time. When he made a decision, he wanted, his thing was winning. His thing was getting into the NCAA tournament, trying to win a Big Ten championship. And that jumped out right away. From just a practical standpoint, like his athleticism, his quickness, he gives us another ball handler. He gives us another defender, a guy that can guard a point guard, but also can guard off the ball. So that flexibility really helps us, and it really helps Braden Smith.
Second row on the right.
Hi, Matt. Jamie Strachan from Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Obviously, Zach Edey's come a long way since he first arrived on campus. Can you talk about his evolution as a player and kind of where you see him kind of fitting into the rich legacy of this sport? And second question, NCAA looking at limiting prop bets around athletes. Can I get your comments on that and how you see gambling affecting your sport over what you've seen the last season?
Right. Zach's evolution, really starts with hard work and improving his body. So each year he's gotten better from a physical standpoint. I think his experiences with the Canadian national team has been very beneficial for him. When he played in the 19 and unders, he made the all-tournament team. He played a lot. He got that experience. Now with the World Cup, with the national team, he didn't play a lot. But you get you have to see how the sausage is made. Like a lot of people just see great players from Canada and it's magic. No, they've had to work really, really hard to get there. And for him to be able to see guys that are on that team and how they work every day, how they handle themselves, is gold. Because that's what you want. Like a lot of people don't understand about being a pro. Being a pro has nothing to do with athletics. There's pros in this room. There's school teachers that are pros, like who comes early, who stays late, who's there. The guy I played for, Gene Cady, called it a company man. Like learn to be a company man and do what's best for your company, and things will work out for you individually. Your second question, go to your second question again. Oh, the prop bets. Yeah. I think, anytime you're talking about an individual player, like you're just asking for trouble, right? You're just asking for trouble. So hopefully they can eliminate that, and that's not part of the process. But overall betting, that's where we are. That's where we are. So it puts a lot of athletes, a lot of coaches, in some difficult positions where 99.9% of the time it's probably not going to be anything, but there are always, and we have a lot of examples for where they have been. Whether that's a referee or that's been a player. We're going back in basketball a long, long time there. There's a lot of things to jump out, and sometimes it doesn't happen for 10, 20, 30 years, but we have all those examples where they do. So anytime you do that, you're going to have to govern it. And, how do you go about, things of that nature? And so hopefully it's something that, we can protect, so we can protect the integrity of the game. But hopefully that we don't have those prop bets. You just don't want individual names, this player here gets 7 assists, you get money, this and that, because you're dealing with really, really young guys at 18, 19, 20 years old, and you don't want that outside influence to affect them and affect their eligibility.
We'll take two more for Coach Painter, starting on the left on the fourth row there.
Hey, Matt. Brendan Quinn from The Athletic. You talk about being a truth teller with your players, and I wonder when there's such like a clear-cut point that of success for fans and for everyone. It's just everyone just talks about the Final Four, right?
Right.
How do you approach that, with your guys, and has that been something that you've developed and learned about of, what to say, what not to say, history lessons, things like that?
Yeah.
How do you just deal with that whole kind of like just thing.
Right. Well, your expectation's your best season. So this is my 19th season at Purdue. So if we don't win the Big Ten or go to an Elite Eight, we had a bad year. That's a hair harsh, but it's the way it is. And so you just want to keep moving that bar. So, like some of the guys that get treated unfairly, I'd love to be them. I'd love to be someone who wins a national championship and goes to Final Fours, and then you go to a Sweet 16 and like, what the hell happened? I'd love to have that issue, right? And but that's what we're working towards. We're working towards being able to be a program that can consistently get into the tournament and advance and have those long runs, but also not lose our soul in the process.
One more question in the front on the left.
Vedant Gupta, Global Kid Media. Coach Painter, 6 years ago in this press room, I said the NCAA tournament's a book, and each team has their own unique chapter. This year again, in 2024, Purdue has a unique chapter. What is it going to take to get to Phoenix?
For us, I think it starts with taking care of the basketball. I think a lot of times people want like a good catchphrase or like a cute answer. We're 25-0 this year if we have 13 or less turnovers. That's held true for us. We're a great offensive rebounding team. Overall, by the numbers, we're a great rebounding team. I think we can be better. So if you can control that possession war, and then you have the first or second best three-point field goal percentage in the country, and then you have Zach Edey, you're just keep giving yourself a chance. And what I mean by keep giving yourself a chance is if you're taking quality shots, and now some of the, like before when we have those turnovers and it gets past that, like you just reflect back on the game when you lose and you're just like, just get the ball up to the rim, right? Because he's very good at soft misses. When you get long misses, that's not him. That's going to be a guard, right? So if you take really good shots, you're going to have more soft misses. So if you take him away from things and you want to full front him, he is in rebound position. So if you can have soft misses and you're around him, he is in perfect position and he's going to get that, or he's great at the tap backs. So like from a functional standpoint, for us to be able to win 2 games here, it's like winning the first 2 games of the season for us, or the 2 games in the middle. Like nothing changes for us. Nothing changes from us from last year. We've just changed personnel. We've tried to be more efficient, and we've just tried to be better at what we do.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you.